Hey everybody, it's Dr. Kenton wakes up. I'm Dr. Kenton. Today is Monday, June 24th, 2024. It's a big day. Monday, as we all know, or as I've been trying to remind people, Mondays are for meetings and for unbreaking things that got broken over the weekend. Um, I've got a fairly full dance ticket for myself, and the cup today is actually tea. I drank a pot of Major Dickinson's blend from Pete's this morning with breakfast, and this is um, it's a red box tea. Oh, jeez. And I'll put it in the notes, I guess. Use my Bodum teapot that you can press a little plunger and it segregates the tea leaves from the water after it's done steeping. I think they call it an awesome ASSAM pot. Works pretty good. It's nice tea, about the strength I like it, so it's working out good so far. Um, Today's not supposed to be as hot as it's been over the weekend, so that's good. I've got a fairly lengthy list of stuff that I'd like to get done today. Um, Getting ready for classes in the fall. Also trying to clear enough off my lifestyle plate so that I can relax while I'm on vacation in a couple of weeks. So that's what I got going today. Um, so taking a hard look at some of the challenges I've tried to solve over the last handful of years, and I realized that in the zeal to make some change sustainable, I actually made things more complicated. So recognizing that leads me to want to go through many of the facets of my life and cut out the unnecessary pieces, which includes getting rid of a lot of stuff I've dragged along with me along the way. One example, a tangible example, is that I searched for quite a long time to try and find a um, calendar syncing tool that would allow me to just use Google Calendar to um, basically, I'm just trying to be as clear as possible. I have an Outlook calendar for work and I have a Google Calendar for my personal life. And what I wanted was for my Outlook stuff to appear on a Google Calendar, which is not my personal calendar, but is a calendar that I can access without having to install the Outlook app on a bunch of devices. Because on Android, the Android or Outlook app installs what's called a administrative. It's an administrative control that allows the remote administrator to delete stuff off your device if they want. Um, so, in my zeal to try and locate that, there's an issue that exists between Outlook, i.e., Microsoft, and Google, where their methodology for syncing calendar appointments, they both observe their own standards, and those standards are approved and implemented. It's just like Apple has the ICS standard, more or less, where you can subscribe to a calendar using an ICS file. Google wants to use CalDAV as a sync tool, and Outlook uses, I don't know what the protocol is called, but it's different. So there's three different calendar things out there, and for some reason, because I didn't want the device administrator control function on my personal Android device, I decided not to install Outlook and log into my university account. But instead, yeah, I had to find a tool that would synchronize my calendars, and it had to be running on a device that had access to all my calendars. So that became my office computer. And when I was going into the office every day, it wasn't such an issue to um, daily ensure that the sync mechanism was working and so forth. Well, it turned out that the sync mechanism wasn't as great. It would get hung up on something needing input, and consequently, the calendars weren't really being synchronized like they were intended to be. So over the weekend, I just decided to try it. What's the problem, Jeff? I said to myself, just install the Outlook app on your phone and use the account mechanism to either display your Google material on the Outlook app or vice versa. Works a lot better that way. So, and then even at home, I didn't like the built-in um, Apple, the Mac OS built-in calendar, but when you install the Google, when you log in your Google account, it can do the calendar. When you log in your Microsoft account, it can display that calendar too. So what I wanted was to be able to see my entire life schedule on one application, and it turned out that there's a way to do that, and it's not as invasive or complicated as I had assumed. And it was, you know, just recognizing a lot of these kinds of, um, it's SMOD, just a lot of detritus that doesn't need to be. There's a simpler, more straightforward way to go about it, and I just, for some reason, have decided not to consider that. And what I wanted was to, instead of finding the thing that works in the most straightforward way possible, I wanted to find the thing that works the way that I want it to, which isn't always the most straightforward way. And then, the one that hit me this morning was that I spend a lot of time updating and fussing over my Obsidian installation. And sure, Obsidian served a great role, but then I realized that Google Docs and Google Calendar and Google Sheets and Google Slides and Google Drive, frankly, are extremely powerful tools. And for what I was using Obsidian to do, I could also do the same thing with Google Docs. So instead of having to worry about keeping a separate synchronized installation of Obsidian on a bunch of different devices, I can just have all my devices logging into Google Drive. And anyway, you get the point. It's just a lot of those little instances where initially I got onto Obsidian as a way to, sort of like a way station as I evolved away from Evernote. And at the time, I didn't seem like Google Docs did the things that I wanted it to. But, maybe I figured something out or saw some other way to do stuff that does fit in with Google Docs now. But anyhow, just recognizing, learning, growing, evolving. trying to do the best job I can to communicate, send little breadcrumb trails for myself to follow. First and foremost, make sure I've got all my stuff together in one spot. I just remembered I have to do something today, so I'm writing it down. That's one of the biggest habits, is carrying around a yellow legal pad and this pen instead of a fountain pen, and a bunch of handmade A5 size notebooks, or even the composition book that I used to carry when I was in the dean's office. It wasn't that one. The one that I had in the dean's office had a black cover. You don't need to know that. I just, for some reason, just trying to correct the record as I'm making it. Okay, well, anyway, today it's 10:10 a.m. as I'm finishing this up, and I hope you have a great day. Recognize some things that you laid in your way, and it's okay to clear the path and make sure that you're doing things that serve you rather than serving an infrastructure that you haphazardly created for yourself. Allow your ego to accept that sometimes the decision that it made a handful of years ago isn't the best one to be made now. Love you, bye.